Hello, welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Podcast. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard. That's L-E-N-A-R-D. It looks French. It's not. It's Leonard without an O. Thank you for tuning in. As Graham Norton used to say on his show, let's get on with the show! Joining me today is Andrew Gillsmith, and that's spelled as you would expect, Andrewgillsmith. It's Gillsmith, not Gil John Doe. Sorry, I can't ever pass on the lame puns. And Andrew is joining us. He has the book Our Lady of the Artilects, which explores artificial intelligence, consciousness, faith, and what it means to be a human. If you're not familiar with the term artilects, don't feel left out. I'm a former IT guy, and I had to look it up. And why does me being a former IT guy have anything to do with it? Well, here's the Google definition. Artilects are artificial intellects. Artilects makes perfect sense now that I've heard it. Or future super intelligent machines. Well, being in IT and dealing with AI, you would have thought I'd have come across that word before now, but I didn't. A term coined by scientist Hugo de Garis. Never heard of him either.
I actually, it's funny. It was coined by Hugo. I'd forgotten about that. He wrote a book. I think, called The Artilect War. That was, this was maybe 10 years ago. That was about a future war between, not so much between humanity and artificial intelligence, but I think humanity that used artificial intelligence and humanity that said, no, we don't want this. It's funny. I actually had forgotten about that. I spoke with Hugo a long time ago when I was first starting to work on this book. But I think to my knowledge, we're the only two people that have used the word artilect in a book title. And there probably is good reason for that.
Well, hence why I had no idea, apparently. I'd never come across Hugo before either. So did you speak with him while you were developing the book that you were using the term? Or?
No, not really. I think I ended up calling him because I saw that his was the only other book that used the term artilect. And I think I just wanted to ask him, did anybody know what you were talking about?
Well, I'm sure some now more will know.
Hopefully.
Your help getting the word out. But let's back up. Where were you born and raised? Where are you now? Places you've been in between, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I was born in Evansville, Indiana. Grew up there, had a great childhood. I loved growing up in Southern Indiana. It was my idea. It still is home. Still my idea of, not exactly paradise, but home. Went away to school up in New England. Worked in digital media and early internet technology in the 1990s in New York. Spent about 10 years there, and then came back to Evansville. My father was sick at the time, and I'd had enough actually of New York, so I was ready to come home. And then met my wife there. We had our first son in Evansville, and then we ended up moving to Louisville, Kentucky. And then from Louisville, my job took me ultimately to St. Louis, Missouri, which is where I live now.
The state of misery.
Some would say.
Yeah. Play on words there. I have a song. In fact, I'll tack it on to the end. States of Confusion, where I poke fun of states. Missouri is misery, obviously. California is California. Michigan, I'm in Michigan. Oh, Mish again, right? It's like, oh no, not them again, kind of thing. Yeah. So all tongue in cheek and good fun.
Yes, if we can't poke fun at each other for the states that we live in, then things are worse than we thought.
Yes, unfortunately so. So what did you read Hugo's book, or how did you
Actually, I
come
did.
across the word that
You know,
he invented?
I was looking for a term that wasn't robots, essentially, or androids, because they're so overused. You know what I mean, in science fiction, and I wanted it to be
Yes.
something that that people would go, well, what is, like, would have kind of a double take and say, well, what is that? Because the book is based on the idea of a Marian apparition, or what seems to be a Marian apparition, to these artificial intelligences. And quite honestly, Our Lady of the Robots just sounds kind of lame. And Our Lady of the Androids is not much better. That's how I ended up with this one.
And these are androids, because another term that kind of sounds similar and comes to mind is from the Doctor Who, the dialects, but they're not androids.
That's right.
They're kind of a Borg
Yeah,
before the Borg came
that's right.
along.
That's right.
So
You are the original assimilators.
yeah,
Yeah. So the Artilects in my book. This is set about 250 years in the future, and the world looks very different. Right? There's economic zones in North America, Western Europe, and China, and then there's a revived Holy Roman Empire, which is kind of light Catholic integralism. I don't know if you guys get into that stuff, but it's Catholicism is the state religion, but it's not heavily enforced, right? This is not. There's a little bit of flexibility, for the people living there, and then there's an Islamic caliphate. And oddly enough, the Holy Roman Empire, the revived empire, and the caliphate are actually allies in this world, because they face greater pressure from the secularists, right, in the economic zones than they do from each other. So they found
enemy of my enemy.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Artilects are kind of a luxury item. I mean, I think at some point somebody describes them as like the way that yachts are in our world today. They're really impressive. There aren't that many of them. They're kind of a toy for the very, very wealthy. They're a bit of a status symbol. And after they start having these visions, most of the world thinks it's just a hoax or they've been hacked. But then one of them shows up in a basilica and it claims to be possessed. And so the Vatican sends an exorcist to investigate, and they hope just dismiss this case and say, no, this is not possible. This can't be happening. But of course, things go off the rails.
This is just bad coding or
Right.
something, or bad wiring, or a purposeful coding to deceive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now I want to back up a second and mention the rest of that. The enemy of my enemy is not my friend, but they may be a useful temporary friend, yeah, a temporary ally. Going back to World War II, the Soviets were never our ally per se, but they were a necessary evil partnership against an even worse evil.
Yes, absolutely.
And as that kind of thing plays out here between Catholics and Islamists, it's what it's
Yeah.
again. We're not really on the same page, but that threat's a greater threat, so we must temporarily partner.
Yeah, again, because it's fiction, right, and it's set in a future, and there's been some invented history that's happened, right, that's led to things being the way that they are. The caliphate is not a fundamentalist Islamic state. It's pretty tolerant.
It's a
Actually,
it's more of a reform, like my friend Dr. Zudi Jaster.
Yes,
By the time who was the author of Reform, the Battle for the Soul of Islam. So it's more of a moderate Islam.
correct. Correct, and as I said, the empire is not Catholic fundamentalism. I mean, it's like I said, it's the state religion, and it matters, right? It's important to people. The church is kind of almost like the second lung of the government.
Kind of like old England used to be, the king used to be the like the Pope. There would be
Yes.
in the official church of that state, although it flopped between Catholicism and Protestantism, between kings. The Holy Roman Empire more back along the Constantine era, where he declared it as the official state religion after seeing the sign of the cross and turning himself over to Christ after winning a battle.
Well, the joke that historians always tell, it's an old joke and it's not that funny, but unless you're hearing it for the first time, right, is about the Holy Roman Empire, right, which was more like kind of Germanic and a little bit of Italian, was that it was not holy, not Roman, and not even really much of an empire. So that's a little bit what's going on here too. In my book, really Catholicism has become the religion of the global South. So it's mainly based in sub-Saharan Africa, in South America, in the Philippines. There are a few European countries that have kind of participated.
Which we're seeing that battle today on the African continent between Christianity and Islam.
That's right. But the one of the characters, one of the big characters in the book is he's a Sufi, which is an Islamic mystic. And the Sufis are kind of known, in Islam. I mean, they're viewed very skeptically, I would say. Well, they're not liked at all by Islamic fundamentalists. Let's just put it that way. They were always, very interested in dialogue with Christians, with Jews, with people of other faiths. But he kind of has his reasons for believing what he believes. And what I didn't want to do, I have no interest in demonizing another group, right, of people, right? And I do think actually, in our world today, even though we have conflict with Islam, right, and particularly with the fundamentalist strain in Islam, like I do,
not all Islamists, or not all Muslims are Islamists, and not all Arab. I hate to keep repeating it, but I always have to, because I'm the author of Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You. Yeah, not all terrorism is Islamic, though that's the bulk of it today. Like I go into in my book, the Tokyo is Om Shinryoku, Christian doomsday cultists, which are like today's modern 12er cultists, who feel it's their duty to rein in Armageddon to hasten the return. So yeah,
but I do think even today, right? Like if and this has been my own experience in my life, so that's all we can work off of as writers, right? Truly faithful Muslims that I know and have known in my life, and I've called friends, I feel closer to them spiritually than I do to a lot of Western atheists who dismiss all faith. Right, who dismiss the whole concept of God, and therefore have no love of God whatsoever in them. Right, so like, that experience, that personal experience of mine, has definitely found its way into the book.
Yeah, well, and Martin Luther King Jr. God gave us all free will. We are all our own individual character. Martin Luther King Jr., the content of character, not all of anything. I've got several episodes on collectivist mindsetism, right? The identity politics of the left. If you look a certain way, or you're a certain skin tone, or you're this or that, you belong in this group, and you must think like everybody in that group. And that's not how life is. We are all individuals. In fact, I'll try to remember to tack on Free Will Individuals song at the end of this episode too.
And like if you have, as a Catholic, I've had some marvelous, beautiful conversations over the years with Muslim friends about the Virgin Mary, for example, who is incredibly honored and venerated in Islam, right? And that's a point of commonality. And does it mean, like, I don't say that
for those who know that it's there.
Right.
The problem is most people only know a particular hand spun limited scope version. They've
That's
never
right.
read the Quran like I've read the Quran.
Right.
I understand the difference between the Quran and the Suris and all of that. Those are
Yeah.
different things.
Yes. So, I wanted to be respectful, and I like in writing the book, right? Like there is a dearth of good. I'll restrict it to Catholicism. There's a lack of good Catholic literature today. Okay. Well, to put it mildly, and it's a shame because my goodness, the church was the font of Western art and literature, going back to Dante and Michelangelo and Da Vinci. I mean, right? But even more recently, J.R.R. Tolkien, Walter
C.S. Lewis. Yeah.
C.S. Lewis, my favorite sci-fi author of all time, Gene Wolfe, an absolutely devout Catholic who wrote the Book of the New Sun, widely regarded, I would say, by people who are like really into sci-fi as the greatest sci-fi novel ever done,
A
including Dune.
lot of sci-fi have religious themes in
Yeah,
it.
but
Yes.
we've gotten away from it. We've stopped engaging the culture, and part of the problem, in my opinion, is we're very we tend to preach to ourselves only. So we write. Catholics are comfortable writing. What I would call, what others have called, Amish romance. Okay, it's like she bats her eyes at him, and he bats his eyes back, and their hands, and then it's on to the next. And I'm not like, there's a place for that, and I don't want to dismiss it because it's like there's real value in that. But if we want to engage with the world, right? Like the agnostics, the people who are genuinely seeking answers in their life, right? But they haven't yet found God. They haven't, or they've walked away from God. We have to be able to go into dark places too, in our art and in our literature, not to glorify the darkness, but to bring light into it, right?
Right.
And so that's a big part of what I hope I'm doing in this book.
So is this your first book?
This is my first book. I actually wrote it in 2022, and I've done a few other books since. But it got picked up by Matthew Kelly, he's probably the best-selling Catholic devotional writer of the last 20 or 30 years. He wrote Dynamic Catholic and The Rhythm of Life, and just some mega bestsellers. And somebody got it to him, and he liked it and said, "Hey, I'd like to kind of republish this, and would you be interested in that?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely." And was able to do some revisions to it that I'd always wanted to do, and they produced this absolutely beautiful edition.
So what year did the republished version come out?
Very recently, just last month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for the benefit of the transcript and the audio, because the audio will air later than the video does, we're recording today on Monday, August the 3rd of 2026. So bear that in mind when you hear what he just said.
The audiobook version is coming soon. I'm really excited about that. That was recorded by a British Ghanaian actor named Kobna Holdbrook Smith, who was actually in one of my all-time favorite movies, which was Paddington Bear,
Oh,
the second
well,
Paddington movie.
what a difference, huh?
Yeah, yeah. But he's just a tremendous actor, and I'm very very excited about that too.
So how did that come about?
I reached out to his people and said, would he be open to doing this? And we had kind of a back and forth, and I was talking with a few other actors, but I kept coming back to Kobna because his voice just carries so much spiritual weight and moral seriousness, I guess, which is funny for somebody that was in Paddington too. But you hear it, you'll know what I mean. I mean, he's just got this resonant, deep, beautiful voice with a slight British and West African accent, and that also kind of fits the international, character of the book.
To give it a little international flavor, exactly like the book. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want no offense intended to any I know hillbillies. They got no problem being called a
Yeah,
hillbilly, but you don't want a hillbilly sounding voice and accent in
that's right.
there.
Yeah. I mean, it works really well in some things. I mean, Flannery O'Connor, you know, that hillbilly narration for Flannery O'Connor would work really, really well, and she's one of the all-time greats.
Right. To everything there is a season, for all things there is a place, and it can be tough sometimes finding that right fit, and there can always be second guessing.
No doubt. No doubt.
Is there another book in development?
Yes, several actually. So this will be a trilogy. There's a
Okay.
second book that I'm working on that picks up kind of where this one leaves off, and it's called A Cloud of Unknowing, which is named after a medieval book of Catholic mystical prayer called the
Not
Book.
to be confused with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Not that
Yeah,
one. And so that one kind of picks up where this leaves off and gets a little bit deeper into some of the, I guess, some of the mysteries in the book. And then there'll be a third that brings it to its conclusion. And then I've got a couple of other series that I've written. My favorite one to write is actually comedy. I love comedy. My favorite author of all time is P.G. Wodehouse. And I love Douglas Adams, who did A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Terry Pratchett, who did the Discworld books. And this one is, it's kind of like, it's a satire of Hollywood set in outer space, where, there's this kind of galactic entertainment company that kind of rules the galaxy, and they think everything revolves around them. And they've been running this
no,
reality,
not at all like Hollywood.
right?
Not at all.
And
Yeah.
they've been running this reality TV show about a planet for 10,000 years. But the problem is it's about to get incinerated by a rogue star. And so they're trying to, maximize their profits as these poor people on this planet are about to get completely,
Annihilated. Yeah. So what you've already said your preferred genre is comedy. The way I see it, and the other books have some comedy in it, I take it. Yes, because things, I always say, even in my Terror Strikes book, there's a comic relief chapter, because things can be so serious. You've got to keep a sense of humor. You've mentioned a few different authors. I'm going to mention a musical group like the Cypress Hill, if you're familiar at all with them,
Sure.
right? If we don't maintain a sense of humor, we'll go insane in the membrane.
Well, I think comedy is actually the hardest thing to write.
It can be, yes.
Because it's all about timing. I actually detest most modern comedy because generally speaking, it's crass, toilet humor, sexual humor and innuendo, and also just like being snarky and mean and condescending. And I mean, I'm not going to tell you that I've never made jokes like that, but like, I think there's a higher level of humor, what I mean? And so, situational comedy and like, putting people in these like awkward situations and just seeing how, various personality quirks kind of come together. That is always very interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite Joe original jokes, because I used to do a co-host Savage Unfiltered show, and I was Raging Joe and Jokester Joe over there, king of the lame puns. Here's a Joe original for you, Shakespeare, right? To be or not to be is truly the question, because if it's to be, I got bingo.
That is terrible and brilliant at the same time.
Exactly right. But I'll tell you my favorite bluer one. It's PG-13-ish. It's okay for the broadcast. It's okay for the broadcast. I try to stay rated G on my podcast, but a guy walks into a bar and asks says to the bartender, "Give me a Coke with a Viagra in it." The bartender looks at him kind of funny. He says, "Yeah, I need a really stiff drink." Ba-dum-bum. Right? I mean, so yeah, you can have jokes without being mean or nasty, and
Yeah.
and that is indeed the harder type of humor to write. And many people will roll their eyes at those jokes. But I write for Suno. In fact, I'm going to write down another one. I'm going to put "Jamaican Me Crazy with These Puns" tune, a parody I wrote for my friends in the Caribbean. No, it's not cultural appropriation. It's an homage to my friends on the island, right? Iremon. It's all about, even a lame pun is a good one, man. Yes, right.
That reminds me of there's the Woodhouse, P.G. Woodhouse, my favorite author. And he wrote the Jeeves stories about the British butler who, you know what I mean? It's hilarious stuff, right? Just very like high society spoof of like England in the 1920s. And there was a scene in one of his books where one of the characters was saying like, "Well, my wife won't be able to attend. She's going on a cruise to the Caribbean." And somebody says, "Oh, Jamaica?" And he said, "No, she went on her own volition."
Right. I saw that joke coming. Yes, I saw, because that's exactly my type of humor. Exactly.
Yeah.
I like all the Alaska jokes, right? Do you know? No, but Alaska. All right, this interview has gone off the rails, but that's good. I'm glad that we're exposing that you've got a sense of humor and you don't take yourself too seriously, because there are some people that take themselves far too seriously on this world. Yes?
Amen to that.
Okay, well, to start to wrap things up already, then, do you have a website for people to find you?
Yes. You can go to www.ourladyoftheartilects.com. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm Andrew Gillsmith. You can also find the book on Amazon or anywhere that you buy books.
Right. Per usual. Yeah, Amazon's still about where most books are sold. So you got, like Jeff Bezos or not, you got to be there.
That's right.
Well, thank you, Andrew Gillsmith, for stopping by. I appreciate it. It was a great discussion. You have yourself a great day. Take care. God bless.
Thank you, Joseph. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the states of confusion. U.S. of A., united we sit, where once we used to stand, are playing different tunes, no longer the same band. Woke up in Massachusetts, land of the free and the tax. Harvard elite sipping lattes, telling us how we should act. From Boston to Cambridge, it's all mass hysteria. Protests in the streets while they're counting their hysteria. Yelling about tolerance, but cancel you quick if you disagree. Welcome to the People's Republic of do as I say, not as we. We're living in the states of confusion. Coast to coast is the same. Red states, blue states, everybody playing the blame game. From sea to shining sea, it's one big comedy. States of confusion. Lord have mercy on me. Drive through Missouri, show me state, turn state of misery. Gateway Arch standing tall over meth labs and barbecue misery. Kansas City steaks, but the heartland's feeling the squeeze. Flyover country getting forgotten, while the coasts do as they please. Show me the money, show me the job, show me where the hope went. Cause right now Missouri's just one long state of misery lament. Then there's California, sorry, I mean California dream, where the stars all glitter and the taxes make you scream. Silicon Valley billionaires preach and save the planet from their jets, while homeless tents line the sidewalks and the middle class just forgets. Legal weed in the morning, illegal everything by night. California, where the sun shines bright, but the future ain't right. Now back to my own backyard, the great Michigan. Once Motor City, muscle, now rust and regret on the brain. Detroit went bankrupt, but the taxes still keep on rising. Politicians promise jobs while the factories keep on closing. Great Lakes to glisten, but the economy's in the tank. Michigan, yeah, we're trying real hard, but we just keep falling back. And don't get me started on Illinois, the state of Illinois. Chicago, corruption running deep like that deep dish void. Politicians grinning while the taxes keep on rising high. Windy City blowing smoke, making honest folks wanna cry. Springfield to the suburbs, everybody's getting fleeced. Illinois is hell, yeah. This state's a straight up beast. Now we hit Texas, Lone Star, state of Texas pride. Oil barons riding high while the grid fries nationwide. Austin weirdos dancing with cowboys in the heat. Border talking ballots can't keep the chaos off repeat. Big trucks, bigger hats, and politics that bite. Texas, yeehaw, freedom, but the power's out tonight. We're living in the states of confusion, from mass hysteria to California shore. State of misery in the middle, make a gate, and in Illinois forevermore. Red, blue, purple, we're all confused as can be. States of confusion, but it's still the land of the free. Lord have mercy. States of confusion, yeah, that's now status of the people we.
Free will, individually created. God gave us all free will. Gave it as individuals to both you and me. Not collectivist mind, hive bees. Not even exactness in identical twins. Thinking otherwise, ungodly hubris, sin wins. Free will, individually created. God gave us all free will. Gave it as individuals to both you and me. Not collectivist mind, hive bees. Not even exactness in identical twins. Thinking otherwise, anti-God ignorance. Ungodly hubris when we forget the spark. You and I, we don't arrive from one stamped mold. Free will, you and me. Free will, not a hive to be. Free will, made uniquely. Oh, not just you and me. One face, one step, one name. Still two different hearts. Same blood, same room, same sky. Still two different marks. I won't call the soul a row of matching parts. We bend, we choose, we burn. We learn where we start. Ungodly hubris win to make us all the same. I was made to answer, you were made to name. Free will, this world to believe. Identical thought pool, discredit to God's free will gets you and me.
Now, na 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 na. 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 Talking and joking, two clowns in one brain. Every line a bad line and still I run the same game. Jamaica me crazy, but I love this lane. I read the wordplay, even when it's lame. Jamaica me crazy with his puns, my man. I read that joke, big fan. If it make you grown, then it kinda just one. Cause a lame little pun still a good one. Jamaica me crazy with his puns again. Laugh till we cry, then we start up again. If it land a flop, we still having fun. Cause a lame little pun still a good one, oh yeah. Walking to the bar, say, bartender you say you had enough, I say, I'm just begun. Corny like the cornmeal, sweet like cocoa bread. I put the joke on the plate, you put your palm on your head. Who ready for a bad line? Who ready for a worse one still? Oh no, if you grown, that's the punchline. That's the whole big thrill. We laugh at the fail, we rewind the run. Cause the joke on the joke is the real fun. Line funds, my man, I read that joke, big fun. If it make you grown, then it kinda just one. Cause a lame little pun still a good one. Jamaica me crazy with his puns again. Laugh till we cry, then we start up again. If it land a flop, we still having fun. Cause a lame little pun still a good one. Need to keep a sense of humor. Even a lame pun is a good one. Talking and joking. Sorry man, of that jokes, I'm a big fan. Jamaica me crazy with all these lame puns. Again I said alright, lots of fun.
Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help. Thank you for having tuned into another Constitutionalist Podcast show. I really appreciate that you stopped by. Again, please like, share, subscribe. We need you to help spread the Constitutionalist movement. Thank you again. Take care. God bless. Love you all.